Mike's Daily Podcast.
Mike Matthews here in a little show called
Mike's Daily Podcast.
This is a show that I do every day except for the past week because I had so much going on. I was doing something that was very wrong. No, it wasn't wrong. It was very good because I had to basically do something that you don't do all the time, and that is a massive project that required building
Mike's Daily Podcast.
A very complicated infrastructure for a new radio station. So,
Mike's
very busy.
Daily
I've done it before in my life.
Podcast.
And was really busy with the last time. The last time I did it was, I guess that was about 15 years ago. And there was a station in Alabama that I helped build. And I had actually a lot of time because they told me, get to Alabama. You're hired. Get to Alabama. So I get to Alabama and then they go, we don't have a station for you yet. So just hang out for 3 months and build the station. So I had a lot of time and I didn't have that much stress until we started the station and everything went wrong. And the engineer that was helping us was MIA most of the time, and I don't know what was going on with his teeth. It was a shock. This man's teeth, I don't think they were really teeth. I think he built some kind of strange apparatus and shoved it in his mouth and said, these are teeth. And pretty much everybody that worked with him was like, okay, as long as you fix stuff. But they didn't. As far as that went, not really. Hey, did you see the podcast picture last time with Basil the Boxer and myself from 3 years ago at Half Moon Bay? Oh, I can't believe it's been 3 years since we went to Half Moon Bay together with Basil. And Basil the Boxer, a year ago.
And here's today's podcast picture.
It was sad. We were spending the last month or so with him in his life, so... Yeah, we've been having, my lovely lady friend and I have been discussing this quite a bit because you're like, wow, it was a year ago that all that stuff was happening. And we're like, yeah. So the podcast picture today, I think I will make it from something more recent. And you will have to see what it is. Oh, maybe the nice sunset that I saw. How about that? Mike'sDailyPodcast.com. From somewhere in Podcastro Valley. Today we are in Podcastro Valley 10. There's the wonderful late great Basil the Boxer. Spent 10 and a half years with that wonderful dog. Right now we have sort of a pet. We are fostering a feral cat that we named Will Ferrell. No, we named him Rodler. Why? Rodler is a type of drink that Germans like. It's beer mixed with lemonade. Yeah. To some of you, that sounds disgusting. To others, it sounds amazing. So we called it. Well, I said to my lovely lady friend, shall we just call him that? But the deal is, the shelter said, here's what we do in Alameda County: is we trap feral cats. And then if someone will host the feral cat for 2 weeks, we'll fix the feral cat, and then you can hold the cat in some capacity, keep him comfortable for 2 weeks till he calms down and he heals with all of his stitches and everything. And then you can release him to the general area from where he was caught. Now, this is some kind of Alameda County rule. I don't know if it's a rule that makes sense. But it's a rule anyway. And as somebody wrote on nextdoor.com, all in caps, he said, how dare you release cats that are feral back into my neighborhood? They're taking over my house. I'm writing all in caps. So, to some people, this is not the best procedure, but the alternative is to euthanize the cat. The cat dies. So it's sort of I don't know. Or does the cat hurt people in the future? I don't know. But perhaps you are wondering about, when you're in a stressful situation how to manage it, how to get through it. And I say yes. There are relaxation techniques you can use that trigger the relaxation response. A physiological change that can help you lower blood pressure, heart rate, breathing rate, oxygen consumption, stress hormones. You can achieve this with activities such as meditation, guided imagery, which do you know what that is? Good. Can you tell me? Because I have no idea. What is guided imagery? The feeling can be triggered by many situations in your daily life. Stress. You may also experience ongoing stress when dealing with longer-term challenging situations throughout life. If you're constantly stressed, it can take a toll on your overall health. It can also make it difficult to feel relaxed or calm. Guided imagery is a method for managing your stress. It's a relaxation technique that involves visualizing positive, peaceful settings, like a beautiful beach or a nice cafe where people are talking so soothingly and softly in the background. Like that. Or a peaceful meadow. This technique is also known as visualization or guided meditation. And this is according to healthline.com. According to research, guided imagery may help reduce stress and anxiety, promote relaxation, ease various symptoms related to stress. How do you do? Well, I guess it improves sleep. It decreases pain. What do you need to get started? A quiet spot, a comfortable couch, bed, or yoga mat, a guided imagery audio recording, that's optional, and headphones are optional. You can find guided imagery on YouTube. Just do a search for that. There's also like a couple apps involved. I guess you can look up that. You can read a script or listen to an audio recording. It's recommended that you listen to a recording so you can close your eyes while you do this exercise. Choose a quiet area where you'll be undisturbed. Wear comfortable and loose clothing. Turn off your phone and other electronics. If you're listening to a recording on your phone, set it to do not disturb so someone can call you or text you. That little bing noise when you get a text. I hate that. Turn off your phone and other electronics. Take several deep breaths. Inhale and exhale deeply, then start the audio recording. Continue to inhale and exhale deeply as you follow along and go outside a cafe anyway where you bring your Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley 10. But it takes practice, guided imagery. Start with 5 minutes a day, then increase the time from there. If you have difficulty imagining peaceful settings, look at images of videos on the internet, find a soothing scene and pretend you're there. Do you know what makes me relaxed? Is that couple, Will and Dawn, that I know I talk about a lot on my podcast, but they just do so many fun things that are just so not even like, it's a guilty pleasure. What they do is they're a nice couple living in the South. I think he sounds like Michael Moore, so I'm wondering if he's from Wisconsin, Minnesota or something. And then they go to these restaurants where they eat really fattening stuff like steak and chicken, fried chicken, macaroni and cheese. So everything is just big fat rolls of fat and delicious and comfort food. They're just so, and they just immerse themselves in comfort food and they talk about it. They read menus at restaurants where they serve nothing but this type of food. Oh, I love it. And then they'll take a little walk in the countryside somewhere in the Smoky Mountains and it's so beautiful. Or they'll go to like a little like shopping area. And I don't know what it is, but it calms me down. I love it. See, it's different for everybody. So that's all I was saying on this podcast. Hey, let's jump through some little news hoops, shall we? Did you watch the Friends reunion on HBO Max, the reviews are mixed, but everybody can agree that Paul Rudd never ever ages. What the heck, that guy? Guy Fieri, speaking of comfort food and fattening food and food that's not good for you, and watching his show when he cooks and makes delicious food, and he's 53 years old, and now he's making $80 million with the Food Network. He's got all those shows. The only one I really don't like is that Grocery Games. That's not my cup of tea. That's what, you know what stresses me out? Grocery stores. Costco. Oh, I should grab an article from Costco, being that I just said that word. If I was at my other location, I would have hit the ding button, but I don't have it here. Well, I'm rapidly not thinking this idea was good to look at something from Costco, because I'm looking at this particular thing, and this is a very, very nothing here. Oh, wait, what's this? What's this? What's this? From the time she was 5 years old, Juliet Grames was obsessed with the story of her grandmother, who had immigrated from the small mountain village of Iavoli in Calabria, Italy, in the 1930s. The obsession eventually evolved into a book called The 7 or 8 Deaths of Stella Fortuna. Grames knew that her grandmother and her great-aunt had been best friends until the grandmother had to have a life-saving lobotomy as a result of a cerebral trauma. Wow. After the surgery, her grandmother's personality changed, and she refused to speak to her sister. Even though it happened when I was only 5, I understood it was a heartbreaker for the family that these two grand matriarchs couldn't be together, Grames says. Grames was the oldest of 10 cousins and the only one of her generation to remember when her grandmother and great-grand-aunt still spoke. Not only was she intrigued from a young age at what had happened with the two women, but she also recalled how her grandmother spoke of Iavoli as a dreamy, glowing village on top of a mountain. Wow. Where you find inspiration for your projects? That's an interesting one. I like that. I like that something, you know, some people might go, who cares? They're old people. I don't care about old people, that kind of thing. But other people, you know, there's so much we could learn from the elders in our lives, the ones of the older generations, which some think I am of. But I guess what I am saying is I am completely sucked into the television show Death in Paradise. All right, I watched Midsummer Murders with my lovely lady friend. We watched every single episode, even the new ones. And, they did this bait and switch thing with us on Amazon Prime. They try and get you to sign up for BritBox to watch these shows because they're all British television shows. And we did that. We watched like all these Midsummer episodes, these recent ones. But then there was like 3 more that if you wanted to watch those, you had to sign up for a completely other British thing, Acorn. And like, we're like, no, we can wait. We'll wait till these shows get on BritBox. It's not to mention some of these Midsummer episodes that we watched, the recent ones were like, what the heck? Meanwhile, Death in Paradise is weird because the first detective they have on the show, when it debuted in 2011, they killed him off 2 seasons later. Oops, spoilers. And that was mainly because Ben Miller is the actor's name. He wanted to move on. He had just gotten married or he was getting divorced or something. And he said that it was too hard to do the show. It's a fun show because, so I guess England owns an island called St. Marie. And it's in very, very hot, the tropics, the Caribbean. And England is so cold and rainy, and everybody is super white and pasty. And then you go to St. Marie, and it's diverse and beautiful, and the music is wonderful and jolly, and there's beautiful sand and sun, but it's humid as heck and hot. And Brits can't stand it. It's too much for them. And the food, they don't like the food because it's not all butter and stuff. They're now eating seafood and healthy stuff. So they don't like it. So Death in Paradise. Love this show. We've gotten past the Ben Miller's died. And the new detective is Humphrey something. And so we're watching that and getting into it. And that's calming me down in this stressful world, in this stressful life in which I live. That's what you got to do. Just take a deep breath. We're going to jump through a couple of hoops more. Totally the bomb, says jeans that look like you peed in your pants are now trending online. Wet Pants Denim says their motto is wet look, dry feel. Their white jeans have a yellow stain over the crotch while their blue ones have a dark blue blemish and they cost $75. Yeah. California giving away $116 million to get people vaxxed. The state of California, in an effort to incentivize people to get vaccinated, is giving away $116 million in prize money. They also will be giving away the nation's highest single vaccine prize of $1.5 million. People who have been vaccinated are eligible to win the prize money. California will start holding their vaccine lottery drawings next week. Speaking of which, also with the vaccine, the Duchess of Cambridge has joined the millions of Britons who have received their first dose of vaccine, coronavirus vaccine. Yesterday, I received my first dose at London Science Museum. I'm hugely grateful to everyone who's playing a part in the rollout. Thank you for everything you're doing. Her husband, Prince William, earlier this month announced that he had received a first dose of vaccine. He tested positive for the coronavirus at some point in 2020. Queen Elizabeth II announced in January that she had received a COVID-19 vaccine along with her husband, Prince Philip, who actually then died. Well, is it related? No, but he died at the age of 99 in April. More than 38 million people in the UK have received a first dose of the coronavirus vaccine. Some 24 million have received a second dose. Do you know how many people died of COVID-19 in England? 128,000 people. Wow. Yes. A punk show at a VFW in Florida is offering $20 tickets if you're vaccinated. But it costs $1,000 if you're not. The promoter said, "We're trying to do a show safely." The Road Safety Authority reveals that 10% of people regularly text and drive. 9% of people regularly talk and drive. Talk on the phone and drive. That's it. That's all I got. Okay. Oh, no, wait. One more thing. E. Arthur Self, he's speaking to us because it's Saturday. And Saturday, he will speak to us about good leaders, good bosses. You can't build a successful career as a boss on being known solely as a consensus-oriented leader, particularly if a consensus model produces inputs but not results and process but not productivity. E. Arthur Self is writing a little bit higher than I can understand. He's a little bit over my head at this point. But I'll read one more thing from this book. You build a career on achieving positive outcomes, meeting missions, producing enduring results. Enduring. Is what you do at your job enduring? And increasing profitability. Actually doing it. Are you increasing profitability? But this is all what you should be doing, but here's what you should not be doing. Just talking. Oh, I've done this, that, but there's no proof. You know, that walks. Wait, talks. What's the thing? The brilliant sunshine walks, but something talks. That whole expression. All right. Well, thank you for listening to today's podcast. We're outside of Cafe Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley 10. Look who's here. Hi, Mike. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How you doing?
It's a disgruntled fiddle player, tell you what.
What?
I heard y'all are gonna be on a couple of radio stations tomorrow, tell you what.
What?
Is that true?
Yes. 2 radio stations at the same time. How is that possible? I don't know. But there's a link at mikesdailypodcast.com. And if you go to that link and listen on Sunday, every Sunday actually, 9 till 4 Pacific time, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., you will hear me playing music, what we call classic hits. And I'm going to be on another station playing more of the current top of the charts type music. At that station, well, I guess there's a link. If you click on the link, there's a link to it. If you scroll down to the bottom, you can find that other station. But they're like both affiliated with each other. So that's big news. And I'm really excited about it. Because it's the first time I'm on this other station that's playing top of the charts today music stuff. So I'm very excited about that. And that's happening tomorrow between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. I can't be any more specific than that because otherwise I'd bore you. But next show it's going to be... Oh, we didn't say hi to this guy.
Hello, Mike. I make delicious root beer. How's the will de-stress you?
Thank you.
It's a goddamn Imagery root beer.
Oh, thank you. All right. One thing, too, watching this Death in Paradise show, it gets me all like I can all of a sudden I can talk... I tried to talk with the... I can't do it now. But after the show, I can totally... Yeah, man, I can do a reggae voice. That's awful. That's not even good. It's tough to do because I end up sounding Irish. Oh, that's what I'm trying to... I live on an island now. It doesn't... You have to chop it up and make it more like this type of voice. Because they slow it down a little bit. Now I'm sounding Scottish. What do you think about all this? You can call me 336MM Daily. 3 + 3 = 6. MM is in Mike Matthews. Daily is in what this podcast tries to be. We'll see if we can do it. It's going to be another crazy week. So expect it to be more like Mike's weekly podcast. Weekly as in it's not very strong. No, I'm kidding. Okay. More on how to reach me. This lady here is going to talk.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.
And that was episode 2246, 2246. More on Mike's Daily Podcast at mikesdailypodcast.com.